Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It's Chris from the Ultimate Recycler. We're here in my workshop. We've got a little repair job to attempt. This came in to the shop the other day with some e-waste. Initially I thought it was one of those digital photo frames that you had to load a little file to and it just showed photos over and over again. They're pretty boring and I really can't sell those. No one wants them anymore. But then I read on the back it says digital calendar day clock. And it's got a bit of a screen, bit like a Kindle. It's not really a normal type screen that you'd see on, say, a tablet. And I thought, oh, well, digital clock, that's not very exciting. You know, you can buy clocks for $5 or $10. But I plugged it in. It didn't have a charger, and it takes a 5-volt, well, power supply. It takes 5-volt. I found one for it. And I plugged it in, and it brought up great big letters, and it says, I think it said Friday afternoon. And I thought, that's unusual. I looked them up. They're actually a thing. They're called a dementia clock. Basically, a easy to read, large format clock for people, older people that have memory issues like dementia or Alzheimer's or something like that. And so it gives you, I think it said the day, whether it was morning or afternoon, the time in nice big font, and also the month and the year. So it's actually a useful thing rather than just a clock. I checked online. They do sell regularly for between $50 to $80 new, but they're certainly not cheap items. Now I plugged the power into this one and it came on for me to read it, and then it went off. And I wobbled the plug and it came on and then went off. So I thought it might have been the power supply. I tried another one, did the same thing. So I'm thinking it might have a fault where the socket goes into the circuit board. And given that they're not $5 throwaway items, I thought we'll have a go at fixing it. So join in, see if you can maybe lend me a few ideas as you're watching. Tap me on the shoulder, send me an email, shout out if I'm doing something wrong really loudly, because people have said that before and I haven't heard you. So, all right, we'll take it apart and have a look and see if we can work it out. Okay, it's got a little fold-out stand thing at the back. And if we plug it in, I've already turned the power supply on. Let's have a look at the screen. Okay, well, we've got nothing at the moment. Let's try one of the buttons, see if it wakes it up. Still got nothing. All right, so I'm pretty sure there's a power supply issue. I'll just keep having a fiddle with it and we'll see if we can bring it to life. If only just for an instant. There we go. So it's an XL Van brand. And yeah, it didn't have, oh, there we go. Now it's Wednesday afternoon. So as you can see, nice big font, really easy to read. But I'm holding the plug. If I let go of the plug, it goes off. Oh, okay, it started again. But will it stay on? I might have to push the button. Yeah, now it seems to have powered off. Okay, there's certainly an issue. Let's pull it apart. I don't know what's involved in it. I'm assuming the socket is soldered directly to a board, and quite often that's a weak point because they flex when they're plugged in, and often it breaks the solder. I'm hoping it's as simple as that. Let's see what we find. Now, there's just a small Phillips head in each corner. Oh, there's one there and one there too. Maybe we don't need to take the outer frame apart. Let's see if the middle section comes off first. So this was brought into the shop with some other e-waste. I didn't get to talk to the person, so I don't know if they thought it was a goer or not. Quite often I tell people, even if things are broken, bring them in because I use parts out of them. All right, that's not going to come off without the frame being dismantled as well. So perhaps they thought it was no good, it wasn't working for them. And they said, oh, it's broken, but we'll take it to the guy up the street and he might be able to use something out of it. Or, as it turns out, I might be able to fix it. Well, that hasn't turned out yet. Let's see how we go. All right, getting into these things is sometimes a bit of a challenge. All right, well, I guess the outer casing has to open up somehow. Oh, there we go. It has some clips. Hope I didn't stab anything critical there. Oh, I stabbed right in where the ribbon wire goes, but I don't think I hit it. Alright, so there's our screen. And it has a battery in there as well. Okay. I guess that's to keep the time when the power goes out. So there's a fair chance the battery is no good. I'm not sure how old this thing is. Didn't have a date on it. And our mains plug is in there, I think. No, that's a USB. The plug's in there. I think we'll take the board off. So we'll unplug the screen. And carefully unplug the ribbon cable. There we go. Little black thing flicks up. I don't think we damaged that. Okay. So a couple of little Phillips head screws here. Four in all. Okay, that should just lift away. There we go. So not very complicated. Just your various switches, your USB, and I think the USB is just for uploading the, what's it say, USB upgrading only. So for adding different firmware. And we'll have a really close look at these solder joints because I reckon that's where our issue will be. Just before we go any further, I just want to test the voltage on the battery. Not that I think that will be causing it to play up, because I think it's just for memory. So it's a CR2032. That's positive, negative will be underneath. And we have 2.87, so it's almost 3 volts. So that's all right. I think we can leave that there. I'm sure that won't be causing it to play up. I did notice a date on here. It looks like it says 2015. So it's about 10 years old. All right, I think the next thing is to resolder these terminals here. I had a bit of a close look with my magnifying headset, and they do look dodgy. I can't see any that move when you move the socket, but there's hardly any solder on them at all. Even the ones from the USB here. It looks like the little pins are just sticking through and they've just sweated a little bit of solder on. So the slight amount of movement of the socket would cause these to break. So I'm going to resolder all these, even though I'm not actually going to be using the USB socket. We just really want the power to work. So I'll resolder these and we'll give it a test. Okay, I've got the connection on my digital microscope now, and I've got the cord plugged in from the power pack, even though it's unplugged from the mains. But by wobbling the plug, you can see that lump of solder is moving around. So it's definitely cracked, and it's a very common problem with when they have sockets soldered directly to the board. You know, they try and save space on these modern pieces of electronics, and so they don't have separate sockets with wires. They just solder it straight on the board. And if I can get a bit more of a focus here, you can clearly see a crack around the edge there. This lump of solder isn't actually, it's sort of up on top of the pin. I don't know why. It should really be flowing right around there, but you can certainly see the crack there. I don't know if I can move it whilst that stays in focus. Yeah, there you go. So we'll have to resolder that, and hopefully that should fix, well, it will fix the problem. I'm fairly confident. This stuff here is just a bit of flux that's broken off the top of it. These connectors here also, that might even be cracked around that one. I didn't see any movement, but there's such a small amount of solder. So I'm going to use some flux and maybe a little brush and clean these up a bit and get a good connecting blob of solder all around these ones, so that it's nice and secure, and when the power's plugged in and unplugged all the time, hopefully it won't crack again. Okay, I've just given it a bit of a scrub with a nylon brush. Okay, beautiful. I think that's good. Okay, while I'm at it, I'm going to fix up the terminals along the USB too, because they look a bit dodgy. And then we'll give it a good clean up with the IPA and have a look under the microscope to make sure it's all good. Then we can put it back together for a test. Okay, back together, working perfectly. I'm just working out how to set it, but I'm not sure how to get back to just the clock. Oh, there we go. So that should be all correct. It's 7:53 and it's the 8th of April 2025. And you can see that's nice, big, easy to read letters. And I don't know when it comes up and says it's evening or it's morning or something. I'm not sure. What if we press some of these buttons at the back again? We have different modes, I think. Oh, that's how to set it, which I did just before. What does that one do? It just tells us it's Tuesday evening. There must be one for altering the brightness. Not sure how that works. Okay, guys, as you can now see, it's Thursday. It's Thursday morning. The fix or the repair was successful in that what I tried to fix, I did fix, and there's no power supply issues to this clock now. However, it's not working, as in it's been 9:48 ever since I've set it to 9:48. When I had it going the other day on Tuesday, I came out the next day. Well, I noticed that the clock wasn't moving. I've tried lots of settings. I have worked out how the dim works and the brighter levels. You can set it to go dim when it gets to a certain time in the evening, and then a certain time in the morning it will automatically brighten up. Every single function works on this beautifully, except it doesn't advance any time. It's like perpetually 9:48 on a Thursday. Now that might be really good for getting my emergency storage shed cleaned out, because I'll get the whole thing done in no time at all, but I'll get older doing it, if you follow what I mean. But there's something wrong with this and I haven't been able to work it out. I had to look over the board. Whether it's something to do with the crystal oscillator that I think gets the time working, I don't know. I couldn't see any obvious faults. I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole. I have managed to fix the power supply issue, but we still don't have a saleable clock, which is a bit disappointing. What I'm going to do at the moment, I'm going to just pack it away here somewhere and see if anyone has any constructive comments that might help. I have searched through forums and various other things. I've wasted a bit of time trying to nut it out. But it does seem from all my research that these aren't perhaps as good as they should be. Now, a lot of the reviews I read said, fantastic, it's great. My father or my mother or my elderly relative finds it really useful. It's a brilliant idea, and it is. And on the face of it, it looks great. However, the construction of it, as you saw inside, was very cheap. I don't know how they can justify such a high price on them. And they've had a lot of issues. I read forums where people said it was good, but it loses 5 minutes over a month, which is a lot for a quartz, well, an electronic clock. It should be spot on. Other people found it really annoying to have these clicking buttons to adjust. Some of them have an alarm on them, which is great in essence, but when you've got it hanging on the wall and the only way you can stop the alarm is take it off and press a button, that's not very good either. You even heard when I was pressing the buttons, it's very flimsy. So the idea is great. The practicalities are that they've made something very cheap. So it'd be nice to see something that fills this gap. Maybe there is, but all the ones that I saw just seem to be the same sort of cheap, mass-produced, dare I say it, made in China. And that's not so bad these days. There's some good stuff coming out of China. But this particular thing is lacking in quality. So if I was doing a review, which it's kind of turned into, this is 10 years old, remember? So be careful if you're buying one new. Check out some reviews, because this one, I would be really disappointed if I spent $50, $60, $70 on this. Even if it was working, apparently it loses time. Anyway, enough of my rambling. I fixed the problem I set out to fix, so we'll call this a success, even though I don't have a clock to sell, because it's still 9:48 and I've talked for ages. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll look out for your comments if anyone has any ideas. I did check out the option of the USB port for upgrading firmware, but I couldn't find any firmware online for them. So that didn't turn out to be very useful. There's no reset buttons. You saw how small the board was, so it must be a fault and I don't know where it is. So thanks for watching anyway. I've enjoyed at least fixing something I set out to fix. And it does give you an idea of somewhere to look for if you have any sort of electronic device these days. Power plugs, USB plugs, they all seem to plug into sockets that are soldered directly on the board. And when you have that flex and you have cheap modern solder, often that's a fault. And it's fairly easy to fix, as you can see from this one. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll leave you go now. Have a good rest of the day, and I'll catch you in the next video. Bye for now.